You're good? We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I did not do that.
It's in a different place every meeting. I'll stay there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start with the minutes from the last meeting. Is there any changes? And if not, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Dave. Is there a second?
Well, second.
Seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Presentation of the bills. Is there any questions on any of the bills? If not, a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Jason makes the motion. Is there a second?
I will second.
Seconded by Nicole. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Monthly disconnects. Do I have a motion to approve the disconnect list?
I'll make the motion.
Dave makes the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jason makes as a second. Any other discussion? Dave?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
And a yes for me. And motion carries. JR, is it next month that we have to get it in for, on the tax rolls?
Yes, should be.
So do we know what the deadline is then?
15th sounds right, so I'd say at least the first meeting.
So the
But-
next meeting for
Oh, you're talking about for,
Hillsboro and for Oyster property and any other properties that owe us that have not paid need to be, we need to have that list here for us to approve to send to the county
Okay.
for taxes. So we don't forget that. Commissioners' reports, we'll start with Nicole tonight.
Okay, I'll make this quick. I had a conversation with Justin from the airport today, and they have been approved some grant funds, and we'll have some local match, but I've asked him to come to the next meeting. So him or a member of the airport board will come here and give kind of an update on the airport, their grants, percentages, and any local funds that they may be seeking. And that's all I have.
Okay. Dave, do you have anything tonight?
I don't have anything on my portfolios, but I've been approached by a few people in town there and just, they want to make sure that we're getting the audio system and everything because they said they've, past few meetings, they either don't hear it or they have to have their volume so loud. So I don't know how it's working tonight. I had it on my phone. Usually somebody messages me.
Right.
But they were just wondering if we need to get professionals in here to do something, or what do you think? I mean, are we getting it under control?
We're
or-
getting it under control. We're waiting for the parts to come in, which I had asked today to find out, and October is when they're expected now, so.
Okay.
They were hoping this month, but they're saying October now.
Basically, I was told, don't spend any more money on it if it's not gonna work right, so I'm just the messenger, so we want it to work right because people are using it, but some people are just saying, we don't even turn it on because half the time we can't hear it, so.
So I would say the last couple of meetings have been better,
Okay,
for sure.
okay, well, I relayed the message, so, thank
Okay.
you.
Jason?
A couple of things. I got a message from Ashley this afternoon about the cemetery. They had received a complaint on, which one was it, Ashley, again, up the top? Do you remember?
The Lynn spearing.
Yes. Or yeah, Lynn Elton.
Or Lynn Elton, I mean, yeah.
Yep. Had gotten some complaints that it wasn't being upkept very well. I did drive out there. It looks like it's been mowed fairly recently, but definitely between the headstones has not been getting trimmed like looking at the contract. It probably should be. So I don't know what our step would be with that since I'm new here, but that's one point.
I do have the contacts for our grass cutter, so I'll get them to you.
Perfect. And then I do know in the past, going by, I went by a couple of the cemeteries, and it was mentioned to me also in the past that we used to use Grainway to come out and spray it for the weeds and stuff, and I don't know if we still do that or what happened with that, is if why we stopped or if we did stop. I don't know if anybody has any information on that.
I don't know.
Mike usually took care of that, and I guess I never thought to check into it because he just always called them. But we can get their contact information and see if they can still come out if you guys would like us to.
I think we should continue to spray it.
Okay.
I would assume it's in our budget, I would think,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And then on the sheriff's, they did lose Sergeant Clegsted, Andrew Clegsted. He has left and went to the North Dakota Highway Patrol. And I believe his last day was a couple weeks ago. I don't remember the exact date, but he has gone to training. So I would like to thank him for his 6 years here, and luckily we'll be able to keep him around. He's going to be stationed in Trail County, Hillsboro or Portland, so we will be able to have him still around, but he is gone, and we are one short right now because of that.
So they have 3 HPs in Trail County?
They added a third HP in Trail
Okay.
County, correct?
Great.
Or is it 4?
What's that?
Is it 4 now?
Nope, it would be 3. It's Kyle, Cody, and will be Andrew.
I thought there was the one up in Buxton.
Nope. There's a few Grand Forks guys that spend quite a bit of time down here too.
Okay.
That we
I just
probably
thought they
see.
lived by Buxton though,
Nope.
because she was and maybe he's he's the truck guy, not.
Oh, that was Tracy. He quit a little while back. He was actually living in Hillsboro last. Busick?
Nope.
Oh. Miles.
Miles, yes.
Yes, he is up in Reynolds somewhere.
Okay. So he's probably close on the line, so.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
No, sir.
All right. The pool is open, started today, so we did get that back up and open. We will only be open Monday through Friday. We're not going to be open on the weekends. And then we brought the price down a little bit, $100 for a family pass and $50 for a regular pass, or for a single pass, and then the daily rate will stay the same. Not too many big issues that we had. Hopefully it'll stay that way. That is all I have. JR, do you have anything tonight?
Nothing from me.
Ashley?
First I got 2 text messages saying the sound is good tonight so far. And then our copier printer died, on Friday. They came and looked at it. It's getting hard to find parts for. They did find the part that we needed, but it's $660. You know that's over my threshold. Can you hear me? Till the end of the year. So I just would like approval to get recent updated quotes from the 2, Loeffler and Advanced Business Methods, going forward, because we need a printer copier in the office.
So, I guess I'm confused, because we pay for them to fix our machines, yet we pay a monthly fee for them for upkeep, yet we have to pay an extra $650 to get it fixed?
I don't know if it's because the part is out. I'll have to talk to Mike Ketterall and see, but that's what he told Sarah today, was it was $660 for the part.
Because we pay a monthly fee for service, which is all inclusive. I
can double check, but I'm just telling you, it's not gonna last till the end of the year, and we need a copier and a printer. So I'm just asking for, I'm not asking for approval to order a copy printer, I'm just asking for approval to get the updated quotes.
How old is the printer?
2016, and we bought it used.
Yeah.
Well, my opinion is get your part, get it running, and get some quotes, and when budget time comes around, we'll look at it then.
It's here, budget time is here, it's due.
Oh, that's right, They're early this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Or
We're
Ben having
currently
it.
working on it.
Okay. Anyway, that's my opinion, but
This is one of the reasons that I've asked before, and we need to get it for this budget. What equipment we have, what do we need to replace?
correct.
Or when we should replace. Are our computers 10 years old? Or is there copiers? Is there printers? And Jim was asked the same thing, and yet we have not received those, so we need to get those done so that we can properly budget for these types of items.
We had issues with this at the beginning of the year, and you guys told me to please wait till the end of the year.
Right,
So-
that's not what,
Okay,
what I am also saying is that we should plan ahead. For example, if our copier is, it's like buying a fridge. A fridge is gonna last 10 years, and if you get to 9 years, you know that you need to plan for a fridge in the next couple of years. But if we don't have a list that says we need a new fridge, it's kind of hard for us to plan at budget time. If we don't know what the age is on all of our equipment.
Yeah, it's just the right thing to do is just, and we're not criticizing anything you're doing over there, Ashley, but that's kind of the way it works is,
Yep. So.
when the budget, you figure out a list of, just like if Jim needs I'm not saying we're buying a payloader, but,
I understand where you're
Okay.
coming from. I'm not arguing with you, I'm just
Yeah.
letting you know that our computer is on the fridge.
Which
No,
is
I
fine, and
agree.
you get the quotes, but again, we need that list by next month.
I think
Do,
what,
go ahead.
oh, sorry, I think what I would do, the part, obviously, we need it, right? You need the printer, and I totally get that. I would ask them, if they have a lease or whatever their warranty is until the end of this year, why that part wouldn't be covered by that. I would just ask that question. But then I do think we do need to move on the printer much quicker than later.
Right.
Do either of those programs offer something where I know we have some equipment where you do a lease program and every third, fourth year, they recycle it out and you keep making that payment, but, you know, it's kind of like an ongoing lease that they're keeping your equipment up to date too.
Well, and I think that's typically what they were probably doing in this situation too, was when it's up for its lease, that you replace it with a new machine and go on another 4 or 5 years, and then it's up. And then you choose to either stay off that lease or do a new lease and a new printer, I'm sure is what their thing is.
This is just going off what Julie had told me. They bought the printer in 2016, but then had a service contract with that. Is that how you understood it, Levi?
Correct.
So, but yeah, both the people that we have talked to, they both said the same as what you were saying, is that is how they normally are doing it now, is just a leasing contract. That way it's always, you don't run into this issue.
Yeah.
But I don't believe ours was a leasing contract on the last time.
We bought it.
No, when you gave us bids, there was a purchase price on one of them, if I remember right. But just make sure you get both.
Well, this is what they sent me last time.
Yeah. Purchase price and 60-month lease.
Yeah.
You want,
I think either
so
or.
you want the rollover lease?
Approximately how much is
Correct.
a
I
lease a
would.
month?
Yep.
I
Well, this
recommend
one's
a lease.
100 and, it says $120 a month. And just make sure that everything is covered in there. Anything else, Ashley?
No.
So do we need to make a motion on her getting the updated?
No.
No, okay.
Because it's just asking for approval
Okay,
to do so.
perfect.
We have to look at, there's nothing from the sheriff's office, because you already talked about that, nothing from the city engineer tonight. The Oster property, we said we were looking at that every 2 weeks. It has not changed when I drove by. I did not take pictures today, but it really has not changed.
I guess my question is, what's our concern on that property yet? Because I've driven by it a few times and I know I kind of came in during the middle of it, so I'm curious, like, what are we expecting her to do?
We've asked her to clean up everything off of her driveway and the stuff to the east, or to the north in the property.
Okay, because I guess to me, driving around quite a bit, I don't see a huge difference between that property right now and that. I guess I just don't see a remarkable difference. I guess my big question would be is the stuff that's in the driveway tarped? Is that okay? Is it in any violation? Because I know one of the complaints was that she had a car parked in her driveway. Well, are we gonna go start telling people they can't park a car in a driveway? I'm looking for some clarification to get on board with this.
So it started with a complaint from the residents, not us driving around looking to find anything out. And in the past, she had it packed from the garage all the way out to the street and packed into the alley.
Yep. And to me, it looks somewhat cleaned up.
It has cleaned up since initial, but it still hasn't been completely. And it's anything that is garbage, rubbish, any of those things that can attract rodents, those type of things. And we've talked to her and asked her to clean it up. She was charged and convicted of it. And when Steve and I and Charlie and I sat down and talked about it and wondered how to move forward so that she would get it cleaned up, because at this point we still can't go in, based on what Steve and Charlie have told us, to get the stuff out of there or where we would go in and clean it up. This is the way that we could do it. Every 2 weeks we evaluate it, look at it and say, has it moved and progressed? If not, we ask that she be charged again.
So I guess, if we're looking at a city, have we gone back to her and said, okay, you cleaned some of it up, you need to move this, this, and this yet to be under our satisfaction? And like I said, I'm in the middle of it, so I don't know.
She has been told that. We haven't went back 15 times and told her that, but she has been told.
But she has been told that that stuff in the driveway needs to move yet?
Yep.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that it's been in the last year, but it has happened. And she's also gotten letters for the exact same thing from JR, which now we can go into the alley and take out. It's been our 15 days if we so choose on that, along with any other residents in that alley that have stuff. Because we sent letters to all of them. And I know some of the others that have started cleaning up since we went back and asked again, so. And if she cleaned it up, I assume that we would drop all the charges if it was cleaned up. She just hasn't gotten to that point.
Okay.
She's also pulled vehicles of the neighbors out of the alley, even though that she was blocking the alley also.
Gotcha. Like I said, yep, I kind of.
We're just I'm trying to do it the legal right way instead of getting this into a neighborhood dispute, so.
Yep.
So with that, if she has not cleaned up, you guys like I said, it's very similar to was last, or 2 weeks ago when we approved. Are we asking to get it charged again? If so, I'd entertain a motion for that. And then secondly, a motion, if we are going to allow us to go out to Roe and Joe again and ask them to help clean up what's in the alley to get that taken care of.
Which one was that?
So part of that stuff is in the actual alley easement, and she got the letter asking her to remove that.
Speaking, same alley.
Same alley.
Okay.
Yep. But it's actually in the alley that we had found out, not on her property. So how would you guys like to proceed?
So now that he has sent the letter, you guys can remove the stuff, or
If you-
what's
yep.
the next step?
We can go in and remove what's in the alley. We can't remove what's on her property.
Right.
So it's two parts. One, to charge her what's on her property, and then secondly, to approve for us to go in and remove what's in the alley. Correct. I know it's not a fun thing to do, but this is what we legally have the right, and try to get some of these issues under control. I would have hoped that she would have just started cleaning up and getting it taken care of. And I think we would have found a happy medium in between, but there hasn't been much of that. Because when she did get it cleaned up, then she brought it right back in shortly thereafter. And driving in other people's yards, in the alleyway, pulling stuff out of the way, so on and so forth.
Kind of twisted on this one. So she cleaned up part of her yard, but the stuff is back on.
This has been over a year ago that
Okay.
has happened.
And I'm afraid if you remove what's in the alley, she might put stuff back in the alley too. Or
Possibly.
if it's removed, she might clean up her yard too, knowing that something is actually happening.
And that was our hope with, or at least my hope with her being charged the first time, was that it would have, because it's $1,000 per charge per day. So every time that we are charging her, the judge will look at it and say, was it in violation on the day that the officers went looked at it?
Well, I would say I would make the motion of moving forward with removing what's in the alley.
Okay. Is there a second?
Would we move this on behalf of this, or would the city move this property?
Correct.
And where would we store it?
It'd be stored somewhere. I haven't figured that out quite yet. Some of it, if it's considered junk based on what Roe and Joe would, whether it's garbage or rubbish, it would probably go in the garbage. If it's property, those consumables, we'd put it in a locked location until she could claim it.
And JR, you said after 15 days it's considered abandoned, is that?
Well, according to the ordinances, anything at any time that's in the city alleyway is able to be removed. It's just like it's a city street. So the 15 days was a courtesy we gave her.
Okay.
That's the way I'd go with it.
So if we moved it though, are we able to throw anything in the garbage? Or would we have to store it all? Just like if you impounded a vehicle?
Vehicles do have special circumstances. With this, it's mostly junk and rubbish I know of. So it's really just throwing things away. I mean, we could take pictures, show what's being thrown, could store it for some time if you'd like to be on the safe side, but I'd have to remember exactly what's all there. I'm with you. I know what you're.
Yeah, my
here,
concern
but-
from a legal standpoint is, are we gonna have a potential lawsuit coming if we just get rid of anything saying, you got rid of this property and to me that was this much value and now we're getting taken to civil court?
Mhm. Well, if you wanted to do it that way, is we could have it moved to some location and stored and have once she pays the bill, she can bail it out, just like abandoned property then. Or just like towing a car. That works too. I mean, that's on the safe side then, if she wants to pay to reclaim it.
Great.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to throw anything away. I'm just hoping by moving it, it allows other neighbors in and out through that alleyway, in case it's blocking them.
Yeah, I'd be in support of moving the stuff. I agree. I think we should store it until we figure out what we can do with it.
Okay, we can do that. We can get it stored and put somewhere, and she'll be charged, or charge the amount of whatever it takes
Mhm.
to get it back. And to get it back, she'd probably have to pay could we require her to pay all of her past bills?
I'll have to look at our ordinances to see. It'd be nice if we could do it that way. I mean, that's how it should be set up. I'll get back to you on that. I just make it a broad motion to say that what we can charge will be what would be the charge to get things back.
Right. So we have the motion to move forward with moving it and then storing it. Is there a second?
I made the
Nicole?
motion to move and store.
I guess my next question, that I would have is, what if she puts up any resistance as the city's going there?
We'd ask that the sheriff's department at least, because it is not on city property. It's not that we want her arrested, just that we can move that. And last time we let the sheriff know ahead of time that we were coming this day and this is what we were doing. I mean, we're not going to blindside him at all. so that everything can be prepared, try to anticipate anything that could happen ahead of time. And just because we make the motion today doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. It could be a week or two before, or more, before it gets done. And if she moves it in the meantime, then she moves it.
It's not an easy decision because it's not like we want to torture her over her own property, you know? So it's a tough one. I mean, I don't feel good about doing it.
But we have asked her, I mean, I've been over there several times, and
Has her mail been going through and getting collected, or have we gotten it returned? The letters that are being sent?
It was collected, the most recent one we have your office delivering, so.
Perfect. I guess as long as it's involving the city, obviously if it involved the sheriff's office, I'd have to abstain, but if we're talking on a city behalf, I would second it. I think we should give her one more attempt at like 48 hours to move it. And give her that final notice that, okay, we're serious here, you need to move it, or we're coming to get it.
And if I see her out again, I'll definitely stop and tell
I
her
would
that.
agree.
So, moved by Nicole, seconded by Jason. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none. Nicole?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Dave?
No.
And a yes for me. Motion carries. The policy handbook, I think we'll hold off on that because Jim is the one that we're waiting on. And he is gone tonight. Ryan, liability insurance renewal approval.
How about now? That work?
Yep.
All right. I'm getting to be a little bit of a regular at these commission meetings, but we'll get this insurance switch over and keep it moving here. So first, I just wanted to piggyback off of a couple of things that we talked about the last time I was here on State Fire and Tornado. There was a few follow-up items that we were working on. One was the water tower. The other was the senior center storage unit, and those we've taken care of both of those. So the one item we're still kind of working on a little bit is the water tower and coming up with the appropriate valuation for it. We have it insured on the policy, but making sure that we have a little better idea on what is the current replacement cost of a structure like that. So State Fire and Tornado was doing a little bit of research for us. They're going to follow up with me again. But the current one we have on the policy for 1.3 million. That's
Okay.
what we have it at now. So
And maybe we just need to reach out possibly to AE2S and see what it would cost for us to get a,
that would be beneficial. That would be helpful. You know, just like State Fire and Tornado, they have their own evaluators that they use to come up with evaluations on buildings when they do inspections and whatnot. But it's always good to have kind of another number in mind, and usually between the two of them is pretty close. Okay.
okay?
The senior center storage building, Ashley and I worked together to confirm that Lee had gotten a policy set up for the senior center, and we went back and removed that structure from the city's policy effective the July 1st renewal. So we were kind of, the last time we talked about it, it was a couple days after the renewal of the policy. We went back to the 1st of July to make that change and process it on the renewal. So the amount that was approved on the bill, by the time it all shakes out, it's going to be a few dollars less than what was on there. Okay. So the second part then tonight, for those that don't know, the city has two policies. One was State Fire and Tornado for the buildings and outside property, and the second part is the North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund. They kind of work together, but they are two separate funds that provide insurance to municipalities and cities and whatnot. So on the NDRF policy, the one that we're talking about today, it includes the general liability,
the business auto, which would be like the vehicles and whatnot that are used by city workers and city staff, and then the inland marine policy, which is the equipment and like Dave, like you mentioned last time, the fire department's equipment and stuff, that's all scheduled on that inland marine list. So 3 parts to that policy: general liability, business auto, and inland marine. When I met with Ashley, we talked a lot about what should be the process to go through and verify the items that are on the schedule that North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund has for the city of Hillsboro. That would be the business auto schedule, and then also the equipment schedule on the inland marine, and just verifying that 1, you still have those vehicles or items, and then 2, that the values with them are appropriate. We don't want to pay premium for items that are insured too high, but at the same time, we want to make sure that the coverage is appropriate so that when we have a loss, we have it covered appropriately, okay? So Ashley and I talked a little bit about what should we do next as far as who should I sit down with and go through those inventory and schedules. We did renew the policy as we've been going through this changeover with the agencies. We renewed it the same as it was with the prior agency. So now it's kind of me working with somebody from the city to just verify that the information that we have on those schedules is correct. And what Levi's handing around is the binder that we have with the new updated policies in there for the 2023 year. The renewal is let's see, I think it's the 8th of August for all 3 of those policies. So we got a little more time than we did for State Fire and Tornado, kind of doing it a little retroactively last time. We got a little bit of time here, but my hope is that I would be able to sit down and visit with, sounds like Jim, from what Ashley mentioned, sit down with Jim and go through the schedule of the autos, make sure we have everything listed on there, and then go through the schedule of equipment, make sure we have everything listed on there and delete what we don't need. So by the time we get closer to the renewal, we have everything corrected and ready to be issued for the policy going forward. So outside of that, that's pretty much it. I mean, all the same things apply as State Fire and Tornado. We're your contact on that. We're available 24/7. Ashley's got my cell phone number. Jim, work with Jim as well. He's got my number. We're available. So from a claim and service and question standpoint, can reach out with us at any time, and we'll just be working towards the renewal here on the 8th of August to get everything kind of corrected for the policy going forward. So no major changes from North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund. They did mention that municipalities are looking to increase their liability coverage. Right now we have it at 2 million is the coverage that we've had in place for the city of Hillsboro. Might be a question for JR about the century code and what can be brought as a suit against the city. I think there was a cap on it at one time, and I think that's changing a little bit now. But either way, when we work with North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund, we ask them if municipalities are increasing their liability coverage, and many of them are. So they offer limits up to as high as 10 million, and those can be quoted out and shared with you guys, and that can be put in place prior to the renewal date on the 8th. So if that's something that want to have conversation about for the upcoming term, we can bring those quotes forward and talk a little bit more about increasing that liability coverage. Otherwise, it would be renewed as is with the same 2 million as it was last year. So not to put JR on the spot here, but
I think once JR finds it out, if he lets you know on that, we should probably get covered at least to that amount or whatever it should be.
We have it at the 2 million now.
Well, I mean, when it changes,
Right.
or if it changes.
So the premiums for this year's North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund policy are fairly similar to what they were last year. There was no significant rate increase with North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund that I'm aware of. It usually, the increases are minimal, and then if there are property or vehicles that are added or subtracted during the during the year, that can make a difference. So sitting down and going through that inventory of the vehicles and the equipment, that we hope that can be part of our process, and just having that person that once a year we can have for sure sit down and start fresh and make sure that we have everything on there that we need to. We just think that's an important part of doing our due diligence and service on the policy for you, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Any questions? Thank you, Ryan.
Okay.
Thank you.
The last item, the beautification had asked us to look at a agreement for architectural services with Hepper Olson Architects out of Buxton to sit down, do some meetings, and do some draft and plans of what could be done out on the railroad park out here. So everybody has that quote. And those funds could come out of the sales tax to cover that. But basically, it's sit down and have public forums some point, probably later this fall, to figure out what would be drafted out, what it could look like, and then so we can kind of have a plan of estimated costs and so on and such forth. We're hoping that way people would see and be able to know what's going on out there. And I think now that we're starting to get more use of it out there with the farmer's market, that seems to be going really well. And then more use with Hillsboro Days. It's a place for us to look at improving.
I don't feel we should spend any money like that on an architect. I think there's a lot of bright, intelligent people that could help us out on that, and it's probably not going to cost us, what's it look like, $12,000?
I will tell you, Dave, that I've tried to reach out to other people trying to go the free route, and it has not worked out. We still plan on doing meetings, but this is for the architectural drawings and figuring out what prices would cost us and so on and so forth. Same thing that we did with the pool project several years ago.
We're not building a school here, though.
I guess I think I'd kind of agree with Dave. We have a lot of irons in the fire here, and we got a lot of projects coming up, so I guess I don't know that how much I want to take on at one time.
Okay, then we'll just move on. Is there anything from the citizens tonight? If not, is there anything from the commissioners? And then if not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I just have one quick thing from the sheriff's office, and that is obviously everybody's aware what's going on down in Fargo or what happened. And I'd just like to say thank you to the community for all the support that we've gotten. And I hope you guys all keep those other officers and citizens still in their thoughts that are still fighting. So, but it's great to work for a community like this where we get such great support. So thank you back.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned.